Easy and Slow Storytelling with Ingvar Kamprad. For most people, IKEA feels simple. Flat boxes, low prices, minimal design. A place you visit on weekends. A place that feels ordinary. But behind that simplicity is one of the most unusual business philosophies ever built, and at the center of it is Ingvar Kamprad. Ingvar Kamprad was not a showman. He did not chase attention. He avoided luxury. He flew economy, drove old cars, wrote memos about saving paper clips. To many, this looked eccentric. To him, it was discipline. Kamprad is often portrayed as a humble minimalist, a frugal founder, a man allergic to waste. That image is mostly accurate, but incomplete, because frugality was not a personality trait. It was a strategic weapon. IKEA was not built to feel premium. It was built to feel accessible to millions of people who had never been considered customers before. Young families, students, people furnishing their first home. Kamprad saw them clearly, long before others did. Ingvar Kamprad was born in Sweden in 1926. He grew up on a farm. Resources were limited. Nothing was wasted. Every item had a purpose. That environment shaped his thinking early. Efficiency was not optional. It was survival. He started selling things as a child. Matches, pens, anything he could deliver cheaply. He learned something important. Margins matter. Distribution matters. Cost discipline matters more than clever marketing. When Kamprad founded IKEA, furniture was expensive, heavy, locally made, sold through traditional stores. It was designed for the wealthy, or at least the established. Young people were excluded. Kamprad saw an opening others ignored. His insight was not design. It was logistics. Furniture did not need to be assembled in factories. It could be assembled by customers. If you reduce volume, you reduce cost. If customers participate, prices drop dramatically. Flat pack furniture changed everything. Shipping became cheaper. Storage became simpler. Inventory became scalable. Customers accepted effort in exchange for affordability. What looked like inconvenience was actually value. And Kamprad understood that trade-off deeply. But IKEA was never just cheap furniture. It was a system. Design, manufacturing, warehousing, retail, even food. Everything was engineered to support scale and efficiency. Every decision flowed from cost awareness. Kamprad believed that waste was a moral failure, not just a business one. If IKEA wasted money, customers paid for it, so savings were not internal. They were passed on. This principle shaped IKEA's culture. Employees were taught to think like owners. Question expenses. Avoid unnecessary luxury. Challenge tradition. The culture was not glamorous. It was demanding, but it was consistent. And consistency created trust. IKEA expanded internationally early, but not by copying local furniture makers. It standardized aggressively. Same designs, same layouts, same experience. Local adaptation was minimal. Efficiency came from sameness, not customization. This decision was controversial. Critics said IKEA ignored culture, ignored taste, ignored local habits. But customers adapted. They learned IKEA's logic. And in doing so, they entered a global system. One that delivered reliability. Kamprad also structured IKEA unusually. Ownership was complex. Foundations, holding companies, legal distance. This was not accidental. It protected IKEA from hostile takeovers, from short-term pressure, from public markets. He wanted IKEA to exist beyond him, beyond any single generation. That required insulation from ego, from speculation, from quarterly thinking. Control was sacrificed for continuity. But Kamprad was not without controversy. His past associations with extremist groups in his youth became public. He acknowledged them, called them the greatest mistake of his life. For some, this stain never faded. For others, accountability mattered more than perfection. There were also criticisms of labor practices, supplier pressure, cost-driven decisions. IKEA's scale gave it power. And power always raises ethical questions. Kamprad was aware of this tension. Cost discipline does not erase responsibility. Over time, IKEA evolved. Sustainability became central. Renewable materials, circular design, long-term environmental thinking. These were not marketing additions. They were extensions of the original logic. Waste reduction at planetary scale. Ingvar Kamprad stepped back from daily operations long before his death. But his presence never disappeared. His principles were embedded everywhere. In pricing, in store layout, in decision-making frameworks, in the language employees used. Today, IKEA is not just a retailer. It is a global infrastructure company. Moving materials, designing systems, shaping how people live in small spaces, influencing how affordability is defined. Kamprad proved something uncomfortable. That simplicity is not simple. It requires extreme discipline, relentless consistency, and the courage to say no, again and again. The real legacy of Ingvar Kamprad is not furniture. It is democratization. He made functional design available to the many, not the few, by accepting constraints others avoided. The question now is whether that model can survive. As labor costs rise, as sustainability demands increase, as consumer expectations shift, because scale amplifies both strengths and weaknesses. Ingvar Kamprad built IKEA on restraint, on humility, on the belief that saving a dollar matters. When multiplied by millions, that belief built one of the most durable companies in history. Quietly, methodically, without spectacle. And that may be his most enduring lesson. That greatness does not require excess, only clarity, and the discipline to live by it every single day.